All right, folks, this is another Health Haven podcast, and today we have yoga practitioner, big time online. Is it a yogi or yoga practitioner before I keep going?
Oh, gosh. Well, I think that we are all yoga practitioners.
Okay.
The great yogis are really the ones in the past, you know?
Okay. Oh, well, shout out to the past yogis. And we're going to say yoga practitioner, Kino MacGregor. Kino, what's going on?
Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful day here in sunny Miami Beach, Florida, and I had the blessing today of being able to check out for about an hour and go down to the beach and
Nice.
Just really enjoy why I love living in this amazing place.
Miami's beautiful. I have my parents live out in Hollandale, so a little further north than Miami. They love it over there.
Mm-hmm.
They're like transplants now from New York. They're like full-fledged Hollandale heads right now. They love it.
Awesome.
Now, Kino, over the last week, I've noticed, I always check your page. I follow you. I've been following you for years.
Thank you.
No problem. I think you help a lot of people who are trying to get into yoga, like myself. I come from like the fitness bodybuilding world, but yoga's become a major part of the continuum of exercise and fitness, and you're at the forefront of that. And over this last week, I've seen a name, Dana, and I've seen you talk about Aloe Yoga and Kodiak, and I've heard about lawsuits, and it seems like a tumultuous time in the yoga world, and it's very odd for me to see that because I've seen that in the fitness world and the bodybuilding world, some internal fighting and discord. Very weird to see that in the yoga world. Can you tell us a little about what's going on this week?
Well, about 2 weeks ago, I published a blog that kind of brought to light a situation that's been happening behind the scenes and in the shadows, which is that the clothing company called Aloe Yoga, which is owned by the nearly billion-dollar corporation called Bella Canvas, and which has also recently acquired the Cody app, which is an online fitness channel that really maximized and profited off of yoga. That larger kind of conglomerate owned by two men who are multimillionaires is suing a 24-year-old yoga teacher named Dana Falsetti, who is known as an advocate for inclusivity, transparency, and diversity in the yoga world. And this was all because she decided to speak out against being kind of forcibly held into being sort of rolled up with the Aloe Yoga offering and everything that they represent. She posted this on her Instagram stories in, I think, December of last year. And the day after she posted it in her stories, which was online for about an hour and viewed by around 3,800 people, Aloe Yoga and their subsidiary company, the one that they own and acquired recently, Cody app, filed joint lawsuits, one in federal court and one in state court in Washington State and California, two lawsuits in excess of $75,000 each, including the remuneration of their lawyer fees, alleging that she had harmed them with unfair competition, trade libel, and defamation. And she's been fighting this fight on her own since then. And kind of the reason why it was necessary to bring it about now is because Dana was out of money. This lawsuit could bankrupt her, squash her, ruin her life. She's 24 years old. You know, she's fresh out of school, and she's known for speaking her mind, and she's known for taking kind of bold stances about issues that are important to her, like diversity and inclusivity. And for her to face this lawsuit by herself, again, she was just out of money, so she would either have to fold and basically declare bankruptcy and let them win, or the story would need to be taken public, and she was going to crowdfund her legal fees. And so when I published the story, I also created a GoFundMe page, which has now met its goal. However, because the legal team of Aloe Yoga keeps pushing forward, unfortunately, the legal fees are just skyrocketing. Since that time, someone has created a petition online to formally ask Aloe Yoga to drop their lawsuit against Dana Falsetti.
I saw that.
It has almost 10,000 people have signed. The unfortunate thing is that after 2 weeks and thousands of people speaking out and really just saying, hey, Aloe, please drop this lawsuit against Dana Falsetti. We've been the community of dissent, the community of concern, and really the community of yogis has been met with silence, blocking, acceleration, and upping the ante in terms of the legal posturing. They've been, and then their only public response was made by the founder of the Cody app, Paul Javid, who I previously had a really sort of amicable relationship with. He's someone that I previously trusted, and his articles sort of sought to paint me in the light of this shrewd businesswoman who was just out to get them. And he unfortunately disclosed a lot of half-truths and spread basically, lies about what has happened in our negotiations in the past. So the full disclosure on my part is that I have skin in the game too, because I have videos on the Cody app, which, thousands of people have watched.
I thought you did, yeah.
I've been protesting and letting it known to them that I did not want my videos to be rolled up in the Aloe Yoga subscription channel. Okay. And they have fought me every corner. I've spent already massive amounts of legal fees just defending myself from the possibility of a lawsuit. I've published blogs and gotten cease and desist letters from them. And the unfortunate situation right now is that, I'm in a situation where I have my back against the wall, and even though, not to bore everyone with the details of the contract, even though Aloe Yoga and Cody app are in breach of my contract, they refuse to negotiate with me and simply say that they'll see me in court. I don't know if their intention is to add me onto Dana's lawsuit, file a lawsuit against me, or that the only way to get through to this company is to file legal action against them. But the heart of the issue of what's going on here is that you have Aloe Yoga, which is a corporation that has appropriated the key terminology of the yoga lineage, this sacred spiritual practice, and they've sort of appropriated it as marketing. So if you
sort
look
of
at
like
their
commercialized it, basically, right?
Yeah, and really kind of claimed it as their core values and message. They talk about nothing is more important to us than community. We want to bring yoga to the world. We preach peace, love, and happiness, and we really believe that you can be the best person that you can possibly be by practicing yoga. If you go to their page, they're sort of using all of, again, the core teachings of yoga as their marketing message, which is totally fine as long as they walk the walk.
Right. Meanwhile, there's lawsuits, so that doesn't really coincide with that message.
That's absolutely, and that's really sort of the heart of the issue, is that you have a company out there, $1 billion company that's owned by two men who are multimillionaires, and they have now appropriated the core teaching of yoga, and unfortunately their company is not acting in accordance with their marketing message. And even worse than that, they've taken this thing which is sacred, which for many people represents a path to knowing God, which represents healing and transformation. So many people find yoga when they're wounded, and then yoga really heals them and brings them into a sense of wholeness. Right. And now you have this corporation that is using the core teachings of that healing practice to, sell clothes. And it would be okay if they were acting in alignment, in accordance with those teachings, but to file a lawsuit against a yoga teacher because she said something that you didn't like, to her platform is antithetical to the whole notion of the yoga practice. Let's start off with the first principle called ahimsa. Himsa means violence. Ahimsa means nonviolence. So when you meet something in the world which is not to your liking, the idea is to come from love and not immediately to go to war. And the idea is to act in a way so that your actions are nonviolent. So by filing suit against Dana,
you're declaring war.
Yeah. And they didn't even reach out to her and say, "Hey, Dana, like that wasn't cool. Do you think maybe you could take it down?" There was no negotiation on their part. And the unfortunate circumstance is here we are, and they continue not to negotiate. They continue to refuse settlement offers. They continue to refuse just everything, from my part. So they continue to refuse to settle with me, and they continue to take a really aggressive legal stance in their lawsuit against Dana. 1 week after there was a massive public outcry, thousands of people wrote to them and questioned their motivation for the lawsuit and begged, pleaded and beseeched them to drop the lawsuit. Their next course of action was to issue a subpoena to Instagram to acquire direct messages, comments, posts, photos, and stories involving me, Dana, and a whole list of keywords that they wanted to include in their discovery of their lawsuit. The next move was to try to issue a subpoena to me to get me to appear and give a deposition in federal court in April. And I can only presume that they are posturing themselves to either include me in their lawsuit against Dana or to file a new lawsuit against me and to try to take me down because I was the next person who was brave enough to speak out. So the core of the issue here is, as a yoga community, when you meet someone that brings up critical commentary towards you, or when you meet someone, like if you're a yoga teacher, right, and you're teaching a yoga class and someone comes up to you and says, hey, when you assisted me in that forward bend, it didn't really feel so good and I actually have a little bit of pain. That's negative feedback. As a yoga teacher, you need to be able to take that in and respond from love and say, hey, I'm so sorry that didn't work. Would you mind talking to me about that so I can learn and become a better person?
Yeah, what's funny, as a personal trainer, you're supposed to do the same thing. It's not like, hey, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a guru. No matter what position I give you or exercise, don't worry about it because I'm a guru. It's the same process. It should be the same process.
Yeah. I think there's a question of also basic human decency, right? Because if someone says something to you, that you don't like, or maybe they even accuse you of doing something. I mean, everybody's been in a relationship, right? Like, how many times does you say, your partner has come home and been like, hey, you didn't take the trash out, And you're like, wait a minute, no, I totally did. And then it's so easy to get into a little fight and a disagreement about something so small. But if you can take that criticism and then say, oh, I get it. So she's actually saying that, I didn't take the trash out because she wants, she's maybe feeling a little bit hurt, and let's me respond
meet in the middle.
Compassion.
I'll take it out, and we'll discuss it later when we have two cooler heads. Definitely.
Absolutely. And this is something that I think is really important just in terms of if we are yogis, and especially if we're using the word yoga in our company name, if it's more than just a marketing device, if it's more than just about, fashion, retail, and making things that are trendy and cute, if it's really about embracing the ethics of the yoga path, then we have to walk the talk. We have to model what is the best behavior. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm a flawed human being. I stumble and I fall. And for example, in this process, I received some really strong negative feedback about.
I was going to ask you about that because you were mentioning that you couldn't believe the comments that were left on your social media.
Yeah. It's pretty astounding. So I've been the recipient of a massive amount of hate since I published this, and it's been really unfortunate. I've had threats issued to my home. I've had people say, you better watch out. I know where you live, and I'm going to make you pay for this. Karma's a bitch. You better watch out, and things like that. And then I've had people call me, all sorts of just really offensive names, names related to my gender, names related to my ethnic background, and it's been really, really hard. I actually had kind of like a breakdown because I feel like it's just me. I'm just me, and I have a large following on social media, but one of the things that I really care about is that I manage my own Instagram account. So it's me. I'm there reading the comments. I don't have a support team of, a multi-million-dollar corporation to, hire some people to bring them on to answer to me. And I was reading all the positive and all the negative, and all these people were saying, I can't believe you, Kino, you da-da-da-da-da. And I mean, people would send me video messages and they would be calling me names, and it was really, really nasty. And then there were so many people that were supportive. But after a few days of reading just thousands of messages every day and trying to respond to all of the sort of really negative, critical ones with love, because I believe that that's what we should do when we have, someone bring up criticism, we should listen and give voice to where their hurt is, and then, really empathize with them, and then also be available to kind of talk it out. And so I did that, and I just had this massive breakdown on Tuesday, and I just realized, I honestly thought that after a week of yogis calling for enlightened action, that this billion-dollar corporation owned by two multimillionaire men
will come to their senses a little bit, right?
Yeah. But they haven't. They've just doubled down. They're just pushing harder and harder. So I just had this breakdown, like, oh my God, I really thought it would be done by now. And, they're millions and billions of dollars. Like, I've been successful as a studio owner, as an entrepreneur, and that's been thrown up in my face as, hey, you're just this millionaire yogi. And I got to say, like, that's patently untrue. I've definitely been successful. I've poured every cent that I've earned into founding my online channel, which I was very motivated to do after the disagreement that I had with Cody on how they were representing yoga in the world. So the unfortunate thing is that, I'm here, kind of on my own, and now I've involved the community, and I'm very happy that so many people are standing up and supporting. There have been many blogs that have been written, and much dialogue that's been happening, and in many ways I feel like there was a veil pulled over people's eyes.
Right.
And then no one was aware of what was going on behind the scenes. And I feel like it's a good thing in the community. It's uncomfortable right now, but I feel like the wool is being pulled off of people's eyes. People's ears are being open and their hearts are being open. And then they're like really waking up to kind of a new level of awareness. And I think that's a positive change in the yoga community. And I sincerely desire that Alo Yoga and the Cody app just come to their senses and do the right thing. They dropped the lawsuit against Dana, and they offer every teacher who doesn't want to be a part of their new channel just an easy, simple out.
And I think this is a yoga issue, but I think it's a bigger issue, which is going on right now. It's trending right now, where critical thinking leads to anything that sounds like dissent. Instead of being like, hey, well, I have a different idea than you have, and let's discuss it, anything that sounds like dissent is being crucified, like literally. And what's interesting is that this happened on the heels of the Facebook Cambridge, a whole incident that happened. There's a bigger thing going on. And of course, we all know Instagram is owned by Facebook, and the problem is way bigger than even our industries. It's way bigger. It's the inability for people to have a little bit of discord, to not really come to a level of understanding right away with other people. We're losing that as a human race right now. I saw that in your story, and that's why I want to reach out to you. Definitely.
Yeah, it's a huge issue right now, and the polarization of the different sides. And I took great pains in my initial article to leave a path of reconciliation open, and I took great pains to communicate as clearly as possible sort of the facts of what was going on.
Right.
And it's really broken my heart how much hate is being thrown around in the aftermath of all of this, and how much sort of victimization is being claimed really all over the place. And the heart of what's going on is that, I believe that at certain times in the development of a community and the development of a nation and the development really of an individual, you face critical junctures that have the potential to define who you are as a person and who you are as a company, as a nation, as a community. And I believe that many yoga practitioners out there, yoga teachers, and even the yoga community as a whole right now is at a critical juncture. And I really think long term, we will look back on this 10 years later and we will see, what changed, what positive changes were impacted from this, and what things we've learned as a community. This is an immense opportunity for growth, an immense opportunity for accountability and transparency. One of the other things that is really important is that as yoga begins to be more popular, as more businesses see it as a link into profitability, as yoga gets looped up into what's called the athleisure market.
Yeah, it's exploding. It's exploding through the mainstream. You can see it. Definitely.
Yeah. So large companies are looking at yoga like Alo Yoga did. Alo Yoga was owned by Bella Canvas. Bella Canvas looked at yoga and said, hey, we think this could increase our bottom line. So then they created this brand, Alo Yoga, and they're pushing it, maximizing it to the world. And, that's a corporate move. And the thing I think that we'll look back and we'll see is when a corporation decides it's more powerful than the community it seeks to sell its products to, how does that community respond? Right. Because what's been going on is that there's it's more than just about that they're suing Dana and they won't let me or any other teachers go from their contracts. It's really about are we as a yoga community going to hold the corporations that sell us products up to the social and responsible standard of what it means to be a yogi. We have this thing called the Mahavratam, the Great Vow. And this is something that yogis take essentially when you begin to practice if you're sort of a spiritual seeker. And this says that this great vow to live the moral and ethical path of the yogi is not bound by place, time, or circumstance. So you can't say, oh, well, I'm going to let this one slide just because that's what everyone else is doing, or, oh, I'm going to let this one slide like when I'm in Rome, do as the Romans do. Right. So the yogi is upheld to a higher standard. And I think this is the critical juncture that we're facing as a community. We're waking up and we're saying, hey, wait a minute. So I'm buying leggings from this company and I'm giving them my money because I trusted this brand ambassador to represent this company. But in fact, this company acts out of alignment with the yoga values. So the yogis are waking up and saying, do I still want to buy my leggings from that company? Wait a minute. There are small women entrepreneurs who are sewing leggings in their basement. Maybe I want to support someone like that instead. And I think that's a revolution.
Makes sense. Now, just pivoting a little bit, from here on out, what do you have going forward for yourself, business-wise, social media-wise, any projects you're working on? Where do you go from here?
Yeah. Gosh, I mean, I always have like 1,000 new ideas, and I will say that the thing I'm working on right now I'm working every day on my own online channel, which is Om Stars, and we've built Om Stars to be not only a place where you can come and practice, but where you have the tools to really inspire you to live the full aspect of the yogi life. So we have insight classes where you get to study the Yoga Sutras, and we have practice components, meditation components, vegan cooking classes, and also just lifestyle, sort of almost reality-based TV shows that are based in the yogi lifestyle. And so I'm working on that every day with all my heart and with all my soul, and it just makes me so happy when people log on and, practice with me and our team of amazing teachers. We really pride ourselves in being inclusive and diverse in terms of all of our teachers. It was one of the things that was really important for me was to find like the most qualified teachers and really invite them, people who are really aligned with that deep spiritual message in yoga. And for me, I really did not place emphasis on, do you have a lot of followers on Instagram? Because some of the best yogis are not the best social media yogis. Right. And that was really important for me, to find the people who are the most learned, the most esteemed, and really the leaders in their field. Nice. And whether or not they had social media followings was secondary. And that's something I really, really, really wanted to embrace, and just take the message, of yoga and make the traditional teaching of yoga accessible in a way so that people can be inspired to practice, in their homes and all over the world. The other project that I'm working on, which is kind of exciting, is I'm working on a new book. The new book is going to be called Yoga Challenge. Okay. And Yoga Challenge is a posture challenge that seeks to make the practice accessible for different body types. So it's a pose-based challenge, so there'll be 30 poses, and the Yoga Challenge book will have me and additional people that will be part of the project. I'm really excited to be partnering with our Om Stars teacher and the social activist yoga teacher, Diane Bondi, who's just absolutely amazing. She inspires me every day, and I'm really excited to be partnering with her on this project to be able to make the Yoga Challenge book as inclusive as possible.
Please
and
do,
have it really...
Yeah, as a bodybuilder, I could bench 300 pounds, I could deadlift 400 pounds, but I cannot hold a pose for more than 10 seconds. So please include people like myself. I need tensile strength.
Awesome. I'm super happy to hear that. Well, you've inspired me to, get hard at work on that book. So That's awesome.
Awesome. Okay, Kino, before we get out of here, can you give everybody your social media handle so they can follow you?
My social media handle, you can find me everywhere, Kino Yoga, KinoYoga. And if you want to check out my online channel, that's OmStars, OMSTARS.com.
All right, folks, another Health Haven podcast. I'm going to say my favorite yoga practitioner, Kino MacGregor. Kino, thanks a lot for being on.
You're so welcome. I really appreciate it.
No problem.